peeps close to me and dear to me, the ones that's been there for my whole life, the ones that came later in my life. Yeah, I appreciate all the blessings God has given me, and I want to repay it to you like this. Clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands. Introducing. This is the joint where we give shout outs to all the peeps, you know what I'm saying? You know we couldn't do this joint without spreading some love to the ones. Yo, check it. Leah. If I just ruled the world, I would give y'all everything.
Check. 1 2 1 2.
Yes, we going out just like that. Yeah.
Yes. What's up, Donnie? How you doing, bro? Yeah, just catching the early morning stream. So that makes it 6:40 a.m. Central European time, and of course that would make it 12:40 a.m. EST, European, Eastern Coast, USA. Damn, I'm forgetting my language. You know, when you learn another language, sometimes the grammatics and thinking, the thinking and putting your sentences together, it's funny to do that between the English language and native speaking English, American English speaker versus a person who has to learn Danish as an adult, because the grammatics, if I spoke English the way the Danish grammatics are, oh my God, you would think I just crawled out of, somewhere very remote on earth. And so sometimes I really do get stuck, at certain hours, man. I have to rethink things. But in any case, I'm here, I'm awake. I hope everybody's doing good. It's some tumultuous times. It's some crazy times. It's going down in the USA, and as it should. It's always, what they say, when you travel outside of the USA, you get a chance to meet people. And one thing, people respect the USA. People definitely do. Don't ever get it twisted. Anybody telling you that the United States is not respected, or its people even more so than the government, its people, for its special way of being different in its own way. You see, we're similar. We got cultural values that align with a lot of other people, but we have unique values, or we have areas where we excel in as Americans, which make us unique too. So don't ever forget, people got appreciation for us out there, just like they have some dislike for some things that may not happen. But when you travel, what happens is that, good or bad, what they know often is that it's going to be big. You know what I'm saying? They call the USA the big hamburger, basically. You know what I'm saying? And if you understand there's so many smaller countries on earth, you have to understand that that's just how they see it, that you come with some big things. Is it going to be good, or is it going to be bad this time, man? How's it going to work out? What's up, Break Room? Yeah. And but in any case, we back at it again, talking about the US. And I'm sure you guys are up to date, more up to date than me right now, because it's been about 8, 9, 10, 12. It's about 6 hours difference. So I'm sure some things have happened and some news has been released about what's going down in the USA, while I was sleeping, while I was catching some Z's. But I did catch some stuff before I went to sleep, and I was about to go live, y'all. 8 hours ago. No, 6 hours ago. Something like that. 6:40. Yeah, 7 hours ago. Almost 8 hours ago. Yeah, just about 8 hours ago. I was about to go live. But then I said, you know what? Let me wait. And I caught some Z's, as I should, because it's the weekend. I'm also off from work. And part of being off from work, I need to be catching Z's, because when I am at work, it can be some long hours. Um, but but oh my God. Oh my God. There was one thing. I mean, look, Mark Robinson, they on the tail. They on your ass right now, Mark Robinson. And Mark Robinson is on Trump's ass. They don't know what to do because for the next month, people gonna be talking about how Donald Trump knowingly and willingly endorsed a man that he had full knowledge over what he said, those dastardly things he said. And then the joke is that they ain't worried about all that nasty shit Mark Robinson said before. They had no problem with. There was no scandal when he said black people need to be the ones paying reparations. There was no scandal when he said, "Hey, yo, I think we should go back to the days where women can't vote." There was no scandal when he said any of that, all those crazy things. Even when he was saying hateful things about trans people. You know where the scandal came? When they got his emails, when they got access to his damn, internet sites he be going into, and they found out that lo and behold, the man likes tranny porn. Now, now there's a scandal. That's what the scandal is. So you black folk that's voting for Trump, understand they don't give a damn that he say something anti-black about your black ass. That ain't no scandal. For you is an N-word anyway. There's no scandal there. There's no scandal there. You're not special. You ain't nada. For the women that's voting for Trump, you ain't nothing in their eyes. Zero. You ain't nada. And I'll be damned if I could teach my own daughter that she ain't nada. I'll be damned. You see what I mean? You're supposed to be teaching your daughters, if you're a man or a woman, you're supposed to be teaching your daughters that, hey, you can do anything you put your mind to. You are special. It's not a gender thing. You're supposed to be teaching your female kids that and your male kids that. You see what I mean? But understand this. They ain't give a damn about her, he, none of that shit. What they got down to was that the scandal is out. This man is watching tranny porn, which they probably all watch anyway. But the scandal is that it got out. That's the scandal. It wasn't anything. Look, you have to understand. They could have locked up a woman. They could have chained her up, beat her, sexually assaulted her. This man could have done that. That wouldn't have been a scandal. There could have been a black man hung in North Carolina with the name Mark Robinson written on it, and it wouldn't have been a scandal. The scandal is the tranny porn. That's the scandal. So the U.S. has got some soul seeking to do, because obviously there's people that's going to vote for these clowns. Which, by the way, since I do have health care, since I do have a union job, since I do have these things, I'm like sitting back watching, like, damn, what the hell? Hold on, let me see. What Donnie say? I disagree with the camel guy. Man, I don't know what the fuck. Dog, these guys hate women, dude. I think if that's what you... Dude, they hate this lady because she is a lady. Man, I'm going to tell you, bro. I'm going to tell you straight up. First of all, as a human being and as the type of person I am, yo, you keep hawking me, you keep riding my nuts like that, you keep coming around talking shit about me behind my back and all that, yo, you're going to get the worst type of meeting with me ever. You see what I mean? Like, everybody makes a mistake. I wish somebody would come up and be like, well, V. Bennett, he stole a candy bar when he was 7 years old. That would be a damn. Do you know how many things I've done since I've been 7 years old? Shit, everybody ain't like me since I've been 7 years old. You see what I'm saying? Some people I had to curse out for being some bastards. Some people I had to, defend myself from. Everybody ain't going to like me. Some people I had to just jump on, and some, for trying to jump on me. That everybody ain't going to like you, but god damn, you could acknowledge some of the things, the good things that her brother has done in 50 years plus years, 40 plus years of adult life. You could acknowledge some of those things. These people, they don't even want to acknowledge nothing. Kamala Harris done been an elected official for 30 damn years. Every job that she's had as an adult damn near required a majority vote. And these people still hawking her like she ain't got no record. I don't know what record was she done. We don't know. What Kamala done? She ain't done. Fool, she done more than you. Far more. That's it. Far more than the people who criticize her. She has done more for the communities, for people. Far more than the people that criticize you. You may not have been there, you may not be aware, but that don't make it not so. And ain't nobody got the time to sit here over the internet and explain to you 30 years of somebody's goddamn record. You need to be doing it yourself. You owe yourself to be informed. Okay? Nobody's your daddy. It's reaching a point where you're going to get cursed out for saying stupid stuff at some point. Not because we need Kamala to win, not because Earth and life ain't going to go on if she ain't going to win. It's because stupid got to be put down. You see what I'm saying? And whether she wins or not, stupid is still going to have to be put down. And then, okay, so let's not get stuck on that. What's up, Shaka? Got you. Yeah, Donnie, bro. I'm just like, yeah, whatever they, making fun of somebody's name. These are all childish things. But I'm gonna tell you, man, if Kamala Harris was not a woman, she would be jacking some of these people up already. Because I can see she got that in her, Yeah, peace, bro. Peace. Yeah, you got to get up on it, otherwise it ain't gonna get done. Shaka, indeed, bro. But check this out. The other thing that happened, and I am prepared for this. Listen to this. Listen to this. Look what happened. Do I have it up here? Wait a second. Oh, okay. Maybe it didn't get uploaded. Let me check that out. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna upload something here. I thought I uploaded it from my phone last night. Maybe it didn't get uploaded. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to blow the surprise, so let me do this right. Regarding Puff Daddy. Regarding Puff Daddy, y'all probably heard that. There is a lot going on. Apparently, there's reports that the man is going to snitch, but come on. You don't need to report. You know this man is going to snitch. I mean, if you didn't know he was going to snitch, why? Why did you not know? I would have to question that. Like, how could you not know? What other move is there to do? The man is going to he's going to go from luxury, everything, control of everything, to no control over nothing and losing everything because the feds can take it from you. He's going to go to a cell and without snitching for the rest of his life. That's what he's going to do. That's his move. This man, he's with the things that he's done, the situation he is in a loser situation where you're going to lose, your kids is going to lose, all y'all going to lose. You are going to lose. That's the situation Puffy is in. So it doesn't take a genius to know he is going to snitch. So the only question is, who would it be? Who and how many? And would he snitch on everyone? Would he tell everything? I mean, technically you're supposed to, but somehow I don't think that's good. But you never know. Hey, never say never, right? I mean, in some situations, you don't know. You just don't know. And we got to leave it there. Let me see what Shaka say. VB, I was shocked by Sky News Australia addressing Kamala. You think it was the host's personal blog rather than the news? Brother, actually, I didn't even see that part, but let's review that. Australia addressing a news agency. I mean, Sky News, isn't that Rupert Murdoch? He's American, right? Isn't that the same dude that owns Fox News? These right-wing networks. Let me see here if I got this upload, and then I can redo it again, and we can get started. Let me review this though. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. 2 seconds. I'm gonna do an upload, and then I'm gonna open up the stream, the ULR, and see if I can find that. Let me see here. Sickening Kamala Harris interview with Oprah Winfrey slammed. I mean, how can you be sickening? How can you be more sickening than Trump? How can you be more sickening than Mark Robinson? How can one possibly be more? I mean, I'm not an Oprah fan. I'm not an Oprah fan myself, right? But I don't like her. I don't like the fact that she, I guess she had to do business with a lot of these people to get in the industry. Like they say. I mean, but I don't like that. I mean, I don't like Bill Clinton. But who says to be a Democrat or to vote for Kamala Harris, you have to like those people? I mean, the most important thing is that you have to like the person you're voting for. You have to speak about the person's record that you're voting for. You have to know the person's record that you're voting for and know the person's record that you're not voting for. That's essentially what you got to know because come on, have you never worked with people you didn't like? What job do you go to every day where you like everybody? Do you even like your boss? Does your boss even like you? I mean, so it is. There are some limitations to Oprah Winfrey, but let me see here. So let me see. Am I logged in here into Studio? Right, I'm here. Yeah, I'm just uploading this video real quick while we online, and then I'm gonna rock it. It's about Diddy, and then we're gonna check out Kamala Harris. Yeah, man. I've been watching. I've been watching for a minute. The news cycle, but I didn't catch that one, bro. Can you share the link? Yeah, I'm gonna share the link. Yeah, this is something, man. Okay, now let me see it. 2 seconds. Let me. I got it open now. If the audio doesn't sound good, my mic, let me know. Um, Let me switch over to this. Okay, here we go. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I see I was on my phone here. It's because I'm uploading a video. So let me see here. All right. And it was on my phone. So now I can do this. All right. So let me see. This was the I dropped the link, Shaka. Can you get there? Here you go. What's up, bro? You good?
Hey, peace, brother VB. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Just waking up, bro. Just taking a couple early hours. I got a cup of coffee, a latte with me, and I'm just sitting here chilling, man, about to check the news out. So what happened, man? You said something about Kamala Harris in Australia, Sky News?
Yeah, peace to everybody. Peace to Donnie Williams in the chat. Now, I saw that yesterday. I think before, yeah, I think it was yesterday. They have 4 million subscribers. Sky News Australia, and I see this female host talking about Kamala. You don't think it's her personal blog rather than a news agency? I did not watch the video in full. The beginning was enough. And on top of that, there are other videos when she's, addressing Kamala. And like you said, that the title says sickening. And you ask the question, isn't Trump sickening? Now, Trump is on tape saying you have to grab them by the, you know what, right? The P word, right? Talking about females. Some people may come to his defense and say, okay, that was a private convo, fine. Now, wasn't he found guilty in a court of law? What was it exactly? Wasn't it touching or something to that effect?
Yo,
Sexual harassment?
lost a he lost a sexual assault case in a civil court.
There it is. So he was found guilty of sexual assault. So I wonder what this female host have to say about that. But I was very surprised. Now, to disagree with somebody is fine. It's okay. Now, I think that news agencies, they are not really supposed to give political opinions, but
No,
they can if they want to. But to have a title sickening, I'm like, what? But hey,
bro, this
I,
is
I downloaded the video just because you have to keep receipts. But yeah, go ahead, brother.
yeah, that's good, brother. And thank you for downloading it too. I'm my thinking about this election is starting to evolve. a little bit from where it was maybe a couple weeks ago. And I think it's because of how desperate these folks have gotten. Like, before I saw it as MAGA, these ignorant people that are basically living on the fringe edges of society, the way they think about city folk, right? This kind of divide in the US, and how that's developed using race and shit like this over time, right? And that it's become political since, it's broken down the Republican Party essentially. The Republican Party, they don't even have centrist in it anymore. It's all the way right wing or nothing now, and with the Republican Party. And but I think now their true colors are really starting to show. And what's behind these broke ass bigots, excuse my language, in the United States that we see every day. We see ignorant people. They hate Kamala Harris because of her race. They hate her because of her agenda. They keep asking, what has she done in all her career? How come you don't know what she done? How can you not know what she done? The only reason why a person doesn't know what she's done is because they don't want to know. But it's not because she hasn't done stuff. That's quite obvious because she's been elected to every post that she's had for 30 years. Nobody gets elected if you're not doing something by the majority. You see what I mean? So she has won. The people chose her every time. It's not some jobs you get at McDonald's or a job you get at the police force. No, when you become a cop, the people don't choose you. Actually, it's not that. When you become the mayor, the people choose you. When you become a fire chief, the people don't choose you. You see what I mean? When you become a manager at Walmart, the people don't choose you. That's an individual. You have a boss, one person or a few people decide, but in Kamala's case, she's been elected. It had to be the public majority vote. Now, what I see happening now, bro, is that finally the billionaire class is stepping up for Trump. You really starting to feel it. Like they're getting
Like
so,
Musk.
yes, like Rupert Murdoch. The media, they're really pulling out. They're pulling all their cards out now. That's what I get out of this Sky News thing. Even though I haven't seen it yet, is that this is their last hope. Kamala Harris didn't made it further than they thought she would make it. They hoped, at first they thought it was a wrap for Trump. At first, these people were out there talking so proudly about how Trump looks young, Biden looks old, even though we know age has nothing to do with the job. It's your intellect. It's how sharp you are. It's how engaged you are. And we know age doesn't necessarily dictate that. Like in a basketball game, if you're on a basketball game, age is going to dictate over intellect at some point. Your natural physical abilities are going to take over, But in politics, it's not like that. It's a desk job. It's a thinker's job. It's a brain job. You see what I mean? So age it's not exactly the same thing. But in this case, they made it an issue. So Biden hopped out. Biden said, hey, it's a good number of people in my own party that don't want me to run respectively because of my age. I get that. So I'm going to step down. Republican Party ain't expect that. And what's even worse is they talked about Kamala Harris. Think about this. They spent all this time only using bigotry towards her. Only. They said not one fair thing about Kamala. They have not treated this woman fairly at all. And guess what? She might beat them all, bro. And they're scared now. They totally scared. And I think that's what we're seeing out of Sky News. Like, you've never seen news be reported like that before. But since Trump has come into the picture, since 2016, we've seen all kinds of norms be broken, including in the press. So people are making exceptions for mediocre behavior. The press, Sky News, and others, politicians, you really getting an opportunity to see the U.S. fight for its soul, like literally. And I'm going to give the Democrats a lot of credit for that because they've been using those words, fight for the soul of America, who we are. We're fighting for who we are, for what we are. Sometimes it sounds like just shit that people say to make light of the situation or people that are disconnected. Nah, it's a very well thought out thing. At the end of the day, It's a fight for the soul over the U.S. What is the country going to be about, and what is its people going to be about? And right now, we see two clear differences. We see Kamala Harris in a country where a woman has never been elected, let alone wipe the floor with people in a debate. We're seeing the possibility of a woman who also in a country that has a legacy of not electing other people from other ethnic backgrounds outside of pure Anglo-Saxon background, right? I mean, allegedly, because we know DNA is a mother, right? DNA be revealing all kinds of shit, but socially, right? It doesn't like electing or hasn't elected a non-Anglo-Saxon, socially speaking, right? Well, now all that's going to change, and they threw everything at this lady, and it ain't stick. So I think people are going to read through the voters. I think they can read through Sky News. Everybody knows Sky News is Rupert Murdoch. You can't expect nothing different than Fox. That's been their policy since 2016 at this point. Sky News, because they're Australian, they usually didn't dip so deeply into the, into the bias, but apparently that's what they choose to do right now. But they're not the only ones, man. CNN, I think a lot of the news agencies have made a decision like, how do we deal with Trump? He's obviously not going to be disqualified, even though he should be, even though all of who he is disqualifying. It's obvious the U.S. doesn't have a law that disqualifies people like Trump. It doesn't disqualify you for losing, for speaking hate speech. It doesn't disqualify you for being a 37-time felon of the worst type. We're not talking about somebody stole your car. There's people that can steal your car, rob your watch, and spend 20 years in jail, right? And never get a job after. Have to write, I'm a felon for the rest of their life on any kind of job. They want a job working on McDonald's. They could be 50 years old and they got to write, I'm a felon. It's crazy. Well, Trump is the type of felon that gets to run for the presidency, and he gets to watch the wealthy people twist and turn because they don't want to pay their fair share. They don't want regular people in the United States having health care. Shaka, how's the health care in France? How's that work?
It's I would say one of the best in Europe. I would be tempted to say one of the best in the world, but there are many countries around your side, those Dutch kind of language speaking, Norway, Sweden, there's like people are the most happy, not just with health, but with job. But in France, it's the healthcare system is quite good. People don't go broke to heal themselves. But right. I want to say, regarding what you stated, yes, Trump is scared. I read that he refused a second debate, so he's definitely scared, and he's a professional with fake news, because there's not only the people eating cats and dogs and pets, and like I said, the host, when I addressed Tariq Nasheed, the host stated that there's no official reports of that, right? So I just asked Elon Musk, did he lie? I'm not expecting an answer, but I addressed what Elon Musk did. I don't know if you've seen it, but he shared a video of a lady who called voodoo a demonic religion. So I asked Elon Musk, how would you feel if somebody said the same thing about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam? But there's another fake news from Trump, is him claiming that Kamala Harris, was Indian first and now she's black, when there's so many instances of her, describing herself as a black person and being introduced as a black person. So he comes with this fake news, and then you have some, blind followers, groupies, sheeps who just, side by his falsehood. Just like back in the what's it called again? In Central Park, the woman that was raped and beaten. What's it called again?
Central Park 5.
Yeah, thank you. So okay, that was a criminal case, but he spent some money. I'm saying he spent some money. He went against those people, and ultimately they were free. But that's a bit different, because it was a criminal case. We're looking for the person that was responsible. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, but he was They didn't. One thing that Donnie points out is like he said this. When they speak on Kamala Harris, they say she put people in jail, but she was a prosecutor. That's her job. And Trump, what does he say whenever he's talking publicly about any type of thing? He doesn't sound like he was talking about police and dealing with suspects, right? And regarding police brutality. And he said some really harsh things about it. Like he didn't say it during the George Floyd thing, but he made other comments that could be confused with him just saying it's okay for police to beat up people because then they learn, basically, they learn to deal with police better, this kind of stuff. So Trump, they always try to you know uh prosecute Kamala Harris for things that she it's like saying, hey, she ran the race too fast. Hey, she did her objectives before she checked out of work today. Hey, she finished her report on time. Boo. You know what I mean? Like, they have a totally different standard. A prosecutor doesn't make the laws. A prosecutor prosecutes the law according to the law, not outside of the law, only within the law. So you can't criticize her for the law when she's a prosecutor. You see, you could criticize the lawmakers, but it just shows you how these folks either purposely don't want to be fair, um, or don't understand the system, or have wealthy people spreading disinformation so that they stay confused about Kamala Harris. And it's really sad. I mean, for me, it's really sad to see black men do this, because a lot of times black men claim to be the warrior type. But it's a clear example of how, if a woman happens to be the warrior type, they ain't going to support her. And that's screwed up, because you have to be the warrior type to be fighting for people for 30 years, bro. You don't get paid a whole lot of money for fighting for people. You don't get paid, bro. Bro, fighting for people in the United States of America is not how you get paid. It's only for a certain type of people that want to do good for the society. That's all it's for. Now, you have some corrupt politicians. You even have some corrupt prosecutors. You got some corrupt mayors. You got some corrupt governors. You got some corrupt senators. You got some corrupt presidents. You have all of that stuff. But to lay that on the feet of the woman who is probably the only woman who has had a chance in the entire history of the country of being the president, to lay all of those faults at her feet is ridiculous, because all those other faults, a lot of them are typically men. I mean, they didn't catch a woman, excuse my language, and I was a supporter of Mayor Barry for Washington, D.C., but they didn't catch a woman in that hotel room smoking crack. That was a man. You see what I mean? That a lot of these instances where they see corruption in the system, you're looking at men. Not always, but a lot of it. But they throw it at her feet like she has to answer for all the corruption of somebody else, when she's never been charged, even accused of anything. It's ridiculous. It don't make any sense. That she would at least been, they have measures and means to accuse people without it becoming civil and without it becoming criminal. At this point, she would have that in her record if she was doing something, and she just doesn't have it after 30 years, not on the state level, not on the national, on the federal level. So it's kind of like, at some point, you gotta wonder, why do people hate this woman? And for me, it's just like, it's just because she's a woman. That's how I see it, because no man is going to put up with that shit. No man is going to stand around and have you hating them. Eventually, a man, not even eventually, just right off the bat, the type of man I am is, if you hating on me just because you hating, I'm going to diss you flat out. And I'm going to diss you hard, and I'm not going to worry about it at all. And when I see you the next time, I'm going to laugh in your face if you treat me unfairly. If you treat me unfairly, I'm going to treat you unfairly, especially if you did it on purpose. And I'm going to laugh again and laugh again after that. But Kamala Harris, being a decent politician, she's empathizing with these fools. She's like trying to understand that some of these people are not even aware of what they do. Some of these people, even if they hate me, need help. She's still doing her job the right way. She's still showing she's a responsible politician, and yet folks still want to hate on her, man. So I think we're going to get to the bottom of this United States of America thing. But back to this, your healthcare, Shaka. The reason why I'm bringing this up, because you have healthcare, you got universal healthcare, right? Like no
Yeah,
matter what.
well, the thing is that in France we wouldn't necessarily because in America I know Obama came up with that healthcare law, and I may not articulate it the perfect way, but for lack of better words, in France it's just part of the system. So basically, you have um, what we call security social, like social security. So
Yeah,
if you're sick, basically you see a doctor. Depending on your revenue, some people don't actually pay at all for treatment when either when they go to see a doctor or GP, like they say in England, general practitioner, or if
right.
they go to the hospital and get some treatment. Now, depending on people's revenue, you may have to come up with a little paper, but most of the time, it is being taken care of by the government. And that is why, for example, there's a lot of advertisement to try to get people off smoking tobacco, try to get people off drinking, because when
They
people
end up
smoke
like
and they
little.
drink, exactly, they get sick, and then it's the government that pays. So it's like millions, if not billions. So yeah, that's how it works. So in America, unfortunately, many people, like Donnie wrote in the chat, they go broke just to heal themselves. And yes, go ahead, bro.
Check this out, Shaka. They have that system in France. What's France GDP versus the US GDP, right? They
Well,
have that,
I don't know, but it's probably lower. It's probably lower. You know.
right. But in Denmark, we got the same system. Everybody that lives here lives under the same system. And the healthcare is taken care of by the public hospitals and the private hospitals through your tax dollars, right? Through the taxes. So nobody pulls out a check when it's time to go to the hospital. Nobody, right? Now, very few people, if anybody, it's very few. Like the private hospitals are allowed to take private patients. They're allowed to do that, but they're not allowed to exclude public patients, which means if the public hospital, they got like 60 days to resolve certain kinds of sicknesses, to diagnose you, to know what your sickness is. After 60 days, if the public hospital, which are very good, by the way, if they can't diagnose what it is, then you go into a private one, and the same taxpayers pay for it. It's only the wealthy that pay for healthcare here, right? Now, this is the thing. I know Denmark's GDP ain't nothing compared to the US GDP. In fact, a lot of countries are happy to do business and have working relations with the United States, where folks pay taxes in the United States, folks pay taxes in Denmark. I pay a good amount of taxes in Denmark, but I get a good amount of security for it and benefits for it, right? Healthcare is one of them. But here's the thing: in the US, most people, just the healthcare is not resolved. There's people being kicked out of their homes because somebody in their family got sick, on the street because somebody in their family got sick. Their lives, their quality of life literally have to change because somebody got sick. And the sickness could be genetic. It may not even be that you smoked. It may not even be that you did anything. You see what I mean? It could just be in the air. It could be in the water. It could be at your job, bad work environment. And yet, for some reason, there's folks that don't even want that. They didn't want the price on pharmaceuticals coming down and being brought down so that people can afford it. And they're not even talking about free medicine. And where I'm living in DK, nobody's worried about the cost of medicine. I mean, a few people are, it's talked about, but it's not an issue. The cost of medicine, you're not paying for medicines for something that you need to have, something that's serious, anything like that. You don't pay for that. Little things here and there, illnesses that come up and go away, you might pay something for that, but your diagnosis sickness, you don't pay for any of that treatment and any of the medicine. You see, and it's the same thing with the healthcare here. So for me, I look at it like Denmark, certain countries in Europe after the what did they call that? They called it the Marshall Plan, where the U.S. helped fund a lot of the rebuilding after World War II. A lot of the countries here said, "Wait a second, we need to resolve some base issues because we have a lot of problems with with poverty, with the society. People are struggling, education because of the war, housing because of the wars, lack of security, healthcare because of that." So when they took those loans, they changed some things. And some of the changes people see today, they never went back. Like, so me as an American citizen, I have universal health care. I don't live in America. Me as an American citizen, I get paid to go to school, to be educated. Even if I'm going to school because my job sent me, I'm paid to full time, paid a salary, union payment. I'm guaranteed those things, although I live outside of the US. Um, Housing insurance, I'm guaranteed those things, although I live outside of the US as a US citizen. And so when I hear Kamala Harris platform, to me, it's not even about her, it's about the platform. And I listen for how well she can articulate the platform. And from what I hear, she's articulating it very, very well. But then I see, like you said, Sky News. Then I see like people supporting Trump, and they're providing zero substance, zero criticism of Trump. I mean, you should be able to criticize even the person you vote for, even the party you vote for. You hear Democrats doing that all the time. You hear people that vote Democrats say, yeah, Democrats this and that, but they don't move fast enough. That's been the primary claim about the Democratic Party. They don't move fast enough, right? But when you look at all the other things you could be criticized for, that's the one thing most people would criticize the Democratic Party for. But when you go to the Republican Party, how come Republicans can't criticize? How come the people that support Trump, where's the criticism? Did he do nothing wrong? Has he never done one thing wrong? Have they not been ineffective at all at one time? You never hear their supporters mention it at all. You know? So yeah, to me, I don't know. Maybe I just went off, but to me, it's going to be a good year, bro. We're going to find out a lot this year. Beverly, what's up?
Hey, oh
You,
no.
uh,
All
what,
those.
you
I'm
been
Hey,
just.
listening?
sister.
I went to bed early. I'm just waking up. Um, all that stuff about Kamala Harris and stuff. A lot of that is what do you call them? Not fake, but they bots and stuff like that. I think
Oh,
she's
on the internet,
doing well.
you mean trolls?
Huh?
You talking about trollers, people trolling on?
Yeah, people trolls. Yeah, trolls. A lot of those are trolls where they say she ain't winning, it didn't go over good and stuff. You see a lot of that. You see a lot
Right.
of that. I think she does well. I think she does. I think her platform is put together well. Of course, it's not going to be 100% of what everybody wants,
Right.
but she has.
Yeah,
They
she's
have a
not
platform.
she's not a horse you can just whip on the race and say speed up horse. She's not an animal, you know. It's like they take her completely out of context. This woman didn't even know she was going to be running for president a month ago. Barely a month ago did she know. A month and a half max. That's when she found out she was running for president. Yet
Right.
they expect her to have been prepared and ready for that for 4 years, like Trump has been running. Trump has been running for president for 4 years. Where's all that shit with him? Where's his platform at? How's he speaking about his platform? Trump can't speak a damn thing about his platform. He can't even go at all in depth in the slightest bit at all. And yet they're expecting 1,000 times more from Kamala Harris, who wasn't even expecting to run. For me, it looks like she picked up that torch mighty well and seamlessly and took care of all the concerns one by one, even the concerns of the Republicans. She to me is really a mover and shaker.
Of
When I
course.
look at her, I didn't know her. Look, I did not know Kamala Harris before she started running for the vice presidency. I didn't know her track record. I'm not from California. I'm not from the West Coast. I'm from DC, but she's my age, a little bit, just a couple of years older than me. But I didn't know her when she was in DC. You know, maybe I met her and don't even remember because if that's it, she was a young person then, right? But that's Howard. That's university. I didn't know anything about her at all, really. But what I'm seeing of her when she's having the opportunity to take the baton and step up and speak, I'm sorry, she is by far way more qualified and speaks on the issues in way more in-depth knowledge than Trump and for many politicians generally. This lady, I can see I see why she's been so successful. And I see why Republicans hate her because she's setting a standard, you know. And I think generally that's the thing that the wealthiest of America are afraid of, the standard of excellence that she's setting while she's speaking about the general public. I think they're afraid of that because American politicians haven't been that good at speaking about the complexities of the poor and the working class. They haven't been that good at describing what that life is like and why it is an issue and why we can do more and why we should do more. They haven't been too eloquent about speaking about what the middle class and the working poor means to the society itself. And Kamala Harris has been able to do that. Joe Biden was able to do that too. But Kamala Harris, I'm seeing now since she's been running, she's been allowed to speak more openly, you know. Generally, vice presidents don't do a whole lot of microphone time in front of the media. But now that she's running, she's had that opportunity, you know, and so I'm getting to know her. I like what I see. But let me go ahead. You want to say something else,
No,
Mama?
what I was going to say is people don't, they need civic classes. You know, I remember freshman civics classes from freshman year in high school that they taught us the branches of the government. They said she didn't do nothing the 4 years she was in office. Yeah, she did. She did what a vice president was supposed to do. She where the president couldn't go, she did that. He made the policy. She didn't. She didn't, and people don't understand that, and that's why these young people or younger people younger than me, younger than yourself, are missing. They don't really know what a vice president is supposed to do, and they play on that.
Right.
They try to play that part up. And as a senator, she could only do she could be with them and help. I guess give her vote. You know what I'm saying? Give her vote for whatever is up before them when the Senate has to vote on stuff. So they don't even know there's three branches of government. A lot of young
You
people
know,
don't even know that. That's sad.
you know
That's a
something?
big
Yeah,
problem
that's
for
true.
me.
Yeah, you're
I,
right. You're right. The civics. You're right. Civics is a big problem right now. Yo, check this out. Bev, you still there?
yeah, I'm still here.
Check
I'm
this
still
out.
here.
Check this out. I'm looking at these how many stories they have about how they see her as negative, right? Australia. Let me just type that correctly just to make sure. Now check this out. Sky News, they have 3 hours ago this negative reporting. They called her an empty vessel, which we know is projection because Trump is an empty vessel. Trump cannot speak at all. He can speak for 90 minutes, but there's no substance. And that's what an empty vessel does. Anybody that listens to Kamala Harris knows she's not an empty vessel. You might have a problem following what she's saying if you are an empty vessel. If you but that's the nature of what it's like to be educated and to have practical knowledge over something versus a person that doesn't. A person that doesn't might have a hard time following an individual that has practical knowledge and education in a topic. You see what I mean? In a industry.
Right.
So, but yet they're going to call her the empty vessel when, okay, so if she's an empty vessel, what is Trump? Something better or something worse? It doesn't matter what they type Kamala Harris out to be. She's already proven she's better than Trump. Look, she got less money than Trump. She's grown up with less money than Trump. She's had far less money than Trump in her entire career. Money, she didn't have money that Trump has for to win any election. She didn't have her own money. She couldn't just throw that out there and talk about it on TV and tell people, "Yeah, I have so much money. That's what makes me a good business person." She hasn't been doing that, right? So everything that she has achieved with less than Trump has, essentially. So I don't get why the stories are about how bad she is. Why don't we get to how do they match up line for line, word for word? And apparently news media from some sites, like I said, this Rupert Murdoch, Sky News, whatever it is, shit, I wouldn't be surprised if he on some Epstein tapes. I'm gonna be honest with you because I'm just starting to get to a point where I'm I'm damn, I was saying this to Shaka earlier. I'm starting to evolve a little in my thinking now. Like the first evolution was, damn, like, you know, this is really going down this year with this election. Kamala Harris could be the first woman president. Wow, she's clean, wiping the floor with these people. She's doing excellent. That was my first evolution. Like, wow, she is that capable. You don't get to see how capable a person is until they have the opportunity to be. So when I saw that, I was like, hey, I'm just going to be honest. She sounds like she knows what she's talking about and how she's approaching this stuff from one day to the next, the campaign. She seems very professional and knowledgeable, experienced, right?
Sky
Now,
News is a right wing.
but check this
But
out. Yeah, they're right wing. They're right wing. But now, in the last couple of days, I'm evolving. And I think, to me, I'm starting to see certain wealthy people become more desperate than ever. And my question is it the money or is it something else that they're desperate about? Like, is it like that she going to expose some people if she wins because she's been attacked? Like, think about this. If you attack a person unfairly because of their race, ethnicity, gender, or all these things that they can't help, if you've been attacking them the whole time unfairly and they might win, and then she will have the power that no one else has ever had as the president because of the Supreme Court gave power to the presidency that had never existed before. She would be that person. What do you think that person would do with that power? Do you think since Trump and since right wing has supported Trump in personally threatening these people's lives openly, what do you think she would do? And I'm starting to think like, yo, she gonna go after all these people. And I think there might be where some of the worry is starting to stick in because 2 weeks ago she didn't have the poll numbers that she has now. 2 weeks ago it was tied, or she was inching ahead, or she had the lean.
what are
Right?
the poll numbers now?
The polls number officially have her in the lead. It's not a lean anymore. It's not within the margin of error anymore. It's actually a lead. I think it's 5 points. But let's go over that. But check this out. So you can see all these articles. They've done this. Sky News. All I did was type in Kamala Harris. Every news thing is negative one. Empty vessel. Roast Kamala Harris. What is it like? Kamala Harris roasted. Look, this is 3 days ago. This is all Sky News. Sky News unpacks chronic debate lies, peddled chronic debate lies. Okay, that's extreme. Um, Sounds off on Kamala Harris in recent campaign. Look at this. Over every story they have is one of Kamala Harris being somebody that's like Trump. They're like talking about her like she's like Trump. Like we haven't heard chronic lies from Trump. How does she qualify as a chronic liar? It's pure projection. So I think for the first time in history, America is getting to look at its bigotry for women and it's bigotry for non-Anglo-Saxon citizens. We talking about citizens that have American ancestry that's been around forever. Even if Kamala Harris' family is an immigrant, she's from the same. She's from the same. Uh, she's from the same wave that hit the Americas. The same wave, the same political wave hit South America, hit the Caribbean, hit Central America, and it hit North America. So she's part of that. She's not separate from that. That's not what makes us different. That's what makes us the same. That's why they're talking about, is her great 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 grandfather a slave owner in Jamaica, which he wasn't. They haven't, they just made that up. But that's why they could even say that, because that's the same type of heritage we have in North America. We talk about who's related to slaves, whose family came from slave plantations, who has slave masters in their family. How did you get this last name? How do all you African Americans have European last names? Was your great great granddaddy a slave owner? You see, so it's the same story that all of us have in discovery of who we are as people, right? Having those names obviously don't mean your great great grandfather was a slave owner. That's ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous thought a person could have. That's a leap. Very few people have that. Sure, they created babies and everything, but that's not everybody's story. Everyone doesn't have those names because they're biologically related. Some of them were just the slaves. You see what I mean? Some of them were both. Neither is a good situation. Being a slave with biological ancestry or partial ancestry from a European doesn't make your life good. That meant you was basically a slave too. So they connected her name with Brown to the legacy of some dude named Mr. Brown in Jamaica. But you could connect my name. You could connect half of my family's name. Half of my family's name comes from a slave plantation in the United States of America called Bennettsville. Bennettsville, South Carolina, today went from one of the biggest slave plantations in the United States to the biggest federal fucking penitentiary. If you ever, because I know how I got that name, and I know what my ancestors look like that have that name. If you ever insist that somehow I'm related to some slave master biologically, I'll knock your head off, because it's not true. It's because my family came through slavery. That's how. And I have every right to knock your head off when you start talking about personal insults like that. Especially if the person saying it probably came from a slave master. And see, that's the most ridiculous part about it. When they saying these things about Kamala Harris, the people that's saying it, their own families could have been slave masters too. It's crazy. If you go by their logic, everybody's granddaddy was a slave master, if you go by their logic. So I just think women today, I'm going to tell you, women in the United States of America that are supporting Kamala Harris, I applaud you, because at least you have your head screwed on straight. At least you are halfway intelligent, at least halfway intelligent. Because if you were not supporting Kamala Harris right now, something in my view of you is something is terribly demented in your brain. Terribly demented if you're not supporting Kamala Harris. She has already done so much that should have garnished your support already, especially if you're a woman. Especially, there's never been a politician in the history of the United States of America that has ever spoken so eloquently about the situation surrounding women in the country, and even children. I mean, I'm talking about on the presidential level, right? Running for the top seat. Sure, many do it locally on the Senate races and congressional race. I'm not saying that, but I mean, I'm talking about in terms of history of who's running for president. So I applaud people that are supporting her, especially women, because it's your time to have somebody that's not scared. It's your time to have somebody that's being truthful about what your realities are and being and empathizing with that when other people do not. Can you imagine right now, connected to Donald Trump? Right now, Donald Trump, he endorsed, and Donald Trump has said this himself before, but he endorsed a man, Mark Robinson, that believes if you are raped as a woman, excuse my language, if you are sexually assaulted as a woman and you end up pregnant, that you must have that baby. That's how far they're going. But there's no scandal there. Where's Sky News with that? Where's Sky News? And this is I'm telling you, this is my point. I know I've been saying this over and over again. Where's the story about Mark Robinson from Sky News? Where's the story about Mark Robinson saying that he wants things to go back to the time where women couldn't vote? Where's that story from Sky News? Where's the story about Mark Robinson saying, hey, slavery wasn't bad? Where's that story from Sky News? Where's the story about Sky News talking about Mark Robinson saying that, hey, he thinks it should be African Americans paying reparations, not everybody else? Where's the story from Sky News? You see? I don't see no story. Where's the story? Look, as a matter of fact, Kamala Harris, let me type in Mark Robinson. I'm going to go over to Puff Daddy now, but let me just type this. Look, there's nothing. Did you see this? Mark Robinson, Sky News. All I did was change the names. There's nothing. They ain't done one story on Mark Robinson. You see? You see?
It's propaganda. That's brainwashing.
Exactly. They haven't done one story about the women that he's talked about. They haven't done one story about the trannies that he watches privately on his sex pornography websites. They haven't, even though he hates trannies in public, excuse my language, he hates transsexuals in public, but in private, he loves them. I'm talking sexually. That's a deformed man. That is a deformed man. Look, if you like that kind of stuff, go out there and like it. But if you don't, be honest with yourself. Turn it off. Be disgusted. Say, ugh, that ain't for me. But look, you don't have to ban it to say, ugh, it ain't for me. You could turn it off. But look, this dude, this dude is the type of dude that hates them publicly, passes laws publicly, talks about them. He don't know what the hell he's going to do anyway about it legally, because there's not really a whole much you can do. They exist. And this dude publicly, he hates them, but privately he enjoys this. It don't make no sense. This dude is but look, there's no story. Go ahead.
I was going to say I have a friend who lives in North Carolina. We were talking about this, and she said, really, they're not telling. He's not as well liked in North Carolina as the people, would like you to think he is. A lot of that is brainwashing, because I was reading something and I stopped because for a slight moment, it made me, it just had me where, wow, we lost the election. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is crazy,
Yeah,
So
they won't.
Saying enough, it's that thing like, if you say it enough, people will believe it.
Exactly.
It's that type of thing.
And see, this is what I was saying, Beverly, before, when I was saying that the wealthy, I'm starting to evolve and believe that the wealthy are really scared right now, because, which they shouldn't be. That doesn't make any money, because the American taxpayers, they're the ones that protect the wealthy's businesses abroad. It's us who's military. We're the ones who pay for the military that fights for our corporations abroad, for our business people, men and women abroad, and our way of life abroad.
You live in Denmark, but you still pay American taxes?
How the system works right now, legally, is called dual residency. So although I'm an American citizen, I live here in Denmark with my kids, right? But I have to file taxes here in Denmark, and then I have to convert those taxes over and report them to the American government too. That's how it works. So I
But
still have to report. I have to file U.S. taxes.
would they take dollars out and give it to the U.S. government? Is
No,
that
no, only if you earn above a certain amount. It's the same laws apply as if you lived in the U.S. If you live in the U.S. and you make under a certain amount, you don't pay taxes. If you live in the U.S., if I live outside of the U.S. and I make a certain amount, what they do is they see what the tax standard is here, see what I'm making, see how much I pay in taxes, and then based on the laws they have for that, they decide: do you owe more? Do you owe something to the U.S. government or not? But you have to be a millionaire pretty much to owe more. I'm not a millionaire, so I don't. The average person doesn't even have to worry about those things. You just have to give them the information of what you paid in taxes to the Danish government. That's what it is. So I tell them what I earned. You see what I mean?
yeah?
And I tell them what I paid, and then they look at that and then they just say, okay, well, there you have it. He got his, because it has really something else to do with it ties into Social Security and things like that, because there's some middle ground where you could be left out as an expat or living abroad. There's some middle ground between foreign tax systems and the US tax system. And it has something to do with how integrated we are in terms of Social Security and other benefits. So there are people that live in the US that get their Social Security from other countries, not the US. You see, and there's Americans that live abroad in other countries that get their Social Security from the US, not the country they live in. But Social Security is the bare minimum. Then, in countries like Denmark, we all pay into private pension too. We pay into pension as well. That's not Social Security. That's not the same thing here. Social
Oh,
Security, you don't have to do anything for in
will you
Denmark.
get a Social Security check? Like, do you get Social Security what the way we pay into it here? Do you do that also?
Yeah, you pay into the security system in the country you live in. But
No,
how
what I'm
it's
asking
divided.
you, the
Okay.
way like every when you retire at a certain age, you get a Social Security check here in the U.S. Do can you
Yeah,
also get one too?
it depends on how much you worked. It depends on how much you worked. It's like, for me to get, you can't get Social Security from two countries. They don't. That's not why they want the
Yeah,
information.
that's what I wanted to know. Could you
They
get?
want they want the information to know where you're supposed to get it from. That's where they need the information, so they can make a choice about where you're supposed to get it from and how they're going to help you get it. So, because as a dual resident, the U.S. has an obligation to also make sure I secure it wherever I live, whatever tax system I've been paying into. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's complex, but in other words, if you're an average worker and you're an American citizen and you work abroad and you're the average worker, you don't pay the US taxes. You're just filing them so that they know what your earnings are, so they don't make a mistake with you, right? So, you have to follow that law. A lot of benefits, if you don't file taxes these days, like there was a time where a lot of American citizens that lived abroad didn't file taxes, um, right? Because the State Department kind of saw it as, okay, we don't really need that information. The State Department wouldn't even have the budget to accommodate it, right? To accommodate all of the people to work on that, right? They didn't want to, but now they do. And so you have to file because you could lose out on services. Like, if I want to file, if I soon I got to get a new passport, for example. Well, if you haven't paid your taxes in a certain amount of years, they can ask you about that before they give you that passport. If you have children that are American citizens but live abroad, well, you as a parent, if you haven't been filing your taxes, they can hold you up and make that process take longer for your kids to get their passports renewed. There's some things you want to make sure you are living up to, and it does mean you have to file twice. But my thoughts are, um, you should do it because the benefits of filing twice outweigh the benefits of not filing twice. That's what it basically comes down to. Yeah. I don't know. It's not, you're not filing because you owe them money or you're paying them money. You're just transmitting the information to them,
Uh,
saying this is where I've earned, this is what I've been making, this is what I paid, and this is the country where it is, and here it is. You have this information. You check it out if you want to.
is Denmark a NATO country?
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
Denmark's definitely a NATO country. It's it's one of and all these NATO countries here in the Baltic Sea are very important to the U.S. security. Like terribly important. Just like the situation in the Mediterranean and the Red Sea is the same situation here in the Baltic Sea. It's a security point for NATO. So they um they monitor what's going on in this region, in the air and in the sea. And as you know, Russia also has access to the Baltic Sea, a tiny access. And yes, they do have a military base there, submarines, planes, and things like that. So yeah, you know, you have to, the American thinking of Americans inside of the U.S. is a little bit different from the Americans outside of the U.S. because when you live outside of the U.S., you're seeing local news from other countries, right? You're seeing Danish local news, you're seeing Swedish local news, you're seeing Finnish local news, you're seeing Estonian local news. And when you hear them report on the activities of each other and what's going on in this region, then you kind of get a different perspective of how NATO works and how much the United States is appreciated. You will not hear any European country speaking negatively about the United States. And it's not because they're scared of you, it's because they're intelligent. It's not because they don't have morals where they wouldn't draw the line with you. They would at some point, and they do have disagreements that they discuss openly, right? But there's nobody confused um, about the U.S. participation in NATO. It's just that people like Trump been lying about it. You know, they try to lie and paint a different perspective, and it's up to the citizens of the U.S. to do their own researching to find out why Trump is lying about NATO. Is the things he's saying about NATO actually factual? No, they're not. Trump oversimplifies things to his constituency, and Kamala Harris provides way more detail. So a lot of people follow Trump because it's easy, because they can understand him, even if it's not factual. And then there's those same people that follow Trump because of how simple he is. They have a hard time following Kamala Harris because she's complex and detailed. And it's harder to stay up with somebody who's a complex thinker and a detailed thinker. It's hard for someone who's not to keep up with them. So I think you got like a big divide there. But I'm saying it as an American citizen living abroad. American citizens need to pay closer attention to these things because you are going to have the billionaire class rob you. You are going to have the billionaire class fool you again. That's what's going on right now in my development. How I've kind of morphed over the last couple weeks. It's changed from where it was. Now I'm seeing that no, I believe now the billionaire class is just totally scared because they didn't expect Kamala Harris to do so well. They didn't want to promote her like a competent person, and they didn't want to be so obvious. So they gave her the opportunity of stepping in there and speaking and representing her party. But now the wealthy, some of them have decided that that's over now. They will not be fair to this woman again. They're not going to do it. And it's for a lot of reasons. It ain't just the money. I think it's because some of them are criminal. They've been participating in some of the criminal activity. And they know that Kamala Harris is going to do something about it. If she becomes president, she will be the most powerful president that ever existed on earth. These billionaires that are bigoted are scared. That's what I believe is going on now.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I
I
think
believe they're totally scared.
I think so too.
Yeah, they don't want America, the U.S., to be a democracy. They don't want the U.S. to be run by the people. But every other democratic country is in NATO. It's literally run by the people. The people that make the most pay the most in other NATO countries, not in the United States of America. It's the people who earn the least that pay the most. That's what's crazy. And I don't mean I'm talking about and they paid more of what they earned. That's what I mean. So who cares if a guy who has $1 trillion pays 5 billion in tax every year? 5 billion in tax ain't shit compared to $1 trillion. You shouldn't have to pay. What I mean is that a person who has $1 billion pays almost nothing for rent, pays almost nothing of their salary for survival. None of it goes to survival. 0.000 goes to their survival. The average worker in America, everything, 100% goes to their survival. That doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
That doesn't make sense. Why
No,
should all your check go to your rent, your food, and your water and your electricity, and then you have nothing left over for health care, nothing left over for an emergency, nothing left over for a vacation, nothing left over for when you got to take time off from work to go to the hospital, to have a child, to do any of these things. The US is that one country in NATO where it has given its citizens, taxpayers, no security. And the wealthy have benefited from that for generations. And that's got to come to an end for any of the violence, any of the drug addictions, any of the criminality, any of those things that we claim are things we do not like and are fighting against. All that bias in terms of classism and how much a earner has to pay of their check to survive, all that has to end first before any of those other problems end. That's what I believe. People are smoking drugs because they can't survive and don't know how to face it in America. People are beating up family members, going crazy on the street, going into offices, the post offices, and shooting people up. No security. No security. Who else are they going to let their frustrations out on? They can't let it out on the government. They're going to let it out on themselves. How do I know this? Because I've actually seen other countries how they deal with these things differently. That's how I know. That's
well,
how I know.
it
You
makes
can't, you can't know what I know if you don't examine the same things.
right.
So, you know, you just can't do it. So, all right. So we established this. Now let's just go on now. Now, is there something I should check out though? Uh, Up here, I didn't want to play this Sky News crap because they're biased anyway. So they ain't never going to give Kamala Harris a shot. They're there's some butt lickers. That's what I could say about Sky News. They're crazy. I wonder what Australians even think about their news reporting at this point. But is there something else I'm missing in terms of what's been going on with Kamala Harris and the Trump?
No, it's real to me. It's transparent. It's very transparent of what's going on between Trump and Harris. Trump basically is. I think Trump basically is trying to stay out of jail. That's all. I
Trump
think.
is trying to stay out of jail for sure.
Yeah, he's trying to
Like
stay out.
Puffy. He's like Puffy at this point. He's desperate, and he's going to do and say and accept anything that gives him a chance to stay out of jail. Except he don't. There's almost no chance he can't go to jail. There's almost no. Those polls. What do you think about the polls? Do you think, because we've seen this before, the polls with let's say Obama and McCain, they didn't reflect the outcome, did they?
I don't.
Like the polls didn't suggest a Obama landslide when he beat McCain.
Was it a landslide? I forgot. It
Oh, it
wasn't.
damn
Yes,
landslide.
it
It
was.
yes. Let's see here. Obama versus McCain polls. It was a landslide. He won. He won by a lot of numbers. Let me see here. Uh, not to take too much time on this, but yeah. Look at this. The Oh, wait a second. Maybe it was a landslide in terms of the what do they call that? The
Like,
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, exactly. The electoral college. No, no, no. It was a landslide. Look,
I
um,
was say it
on
has to be a landslide because it goes by the people's votes. He got the majority of the votes. I don't know. It's been
right.
so long.
Well, in the end, like for example, Obama got plus 7.3. He got point seven. No, he got plus seven of the votes, right? Electoral. But let's see here. It says, for example, Marist. I don't know where that is. Marist was plus nine. Battleground
Oh,
Lake.
Barris poll. That's what that is.
Okay, the Battleground Lake poll had him at plus five. Plus two was the Terrence poll. Rasmussen reports plus six. Plus 11 from Reuters. They're not even around anymore. I don't think. Aren't they?
They
Um,
are routers, routers, whatever. They're still around.
okay, and Fox had them at plus seven. Plus eight was NBC. But I think, let me see here. I think this was the countdown polling, but the result was deeper. Um, and so they had. Let me see here. What was it says here? Election 56 president. Okay, held Tuesday, November 4th. Democratic ticket of Barack Obama, the junior senator from Illinois, and Joe Biden, the senior senator from Delaware, defeated Republican ticket McCain, um, the senior senator from Arizona, and Sarah Palin, the governor of Alaska. Obama became the first. Okay, let me see here, Warren G. But where's what did they say about the numbers? Early campaigning focused heavily on the Iraq War. Okay, let me see. Well, let me see here. Let me just type election results Obama McCain. Maybe that's a little better. I was watching it live on TV down at downtown in this place called Politiken. They usually hold the U.S. election down there live, so it's like a news agency. But dag, you know what? I keep forgetting. I'm getting results based on my location, so I'm getting some non-American news here about these results. They say a total of 131 million votes were cast in the election, which represent more than 43% of the U.S. population. That's a low percentage, or 43% of the U.S. population at the time. Now that's not low because they're including people that can't vote. The highest share of any presidential election in U.S. history. Okay, more people voted in that election, percentage-wise, than ever before in the history of the U.S. Obama amassed 365 votes in the Electoral College by carrying 28 states. See what I mean? That's a landslide,
Um,
right?
yeah,
365, you don't need 270. You see?
right.
McCain, McCain got 173. So I'm thinking this election is going to look a lot more like this Obama McCain election. I'm thinking the polls always make it seem closer than what it is, but I believe most media, even Fox, will admit Donald Trump does not have the lean. Things are not leaning his way, meaning that although the polls may be close, the lean also counts in which direction is leaning. And they give the lean, most news agencies give the lean to Kamala Harris. So I think because she's a Democrat and because of her values as a Democrat, the type of Democrat she is, I think that the polling is always going to look tighter than the outcome.
Right.
Um, yeah, they don't want to big up. They don't want to big up social democracy in the U.S. I think it's like a no. You know, it's always just something that they are against. But NATO nations have shown that you don't have to do that. Other NATO nations have shown, Canada, you know, Germany, like where I'm living, like Shaka said, in the Scandinavian, you know, a lot of these countries, you know, have proven that that tax model and what taxes can do for the local population, the citizens, it can be organized better than the U.S. model, nationally. You know, most NATO countries don't have any issue with the U.S. internationally because they're in line with the U.S. internationally goals. You know, as NATO countries, but where they disagree is how they manage things nationally. So when they criticize the U.S., it's about what's going on inside of the country, the gun law, the lack of gun laws, the lack of health care, the lack of access to education, the lack of these kind of things that typically come with people's taxes in NATO countries doesn't come when you look at the US, although they're a NATO country. So they're concerned about values as Western democracies, these other NATO nations. And they challenge the US on their values daily, domestically, but they don't have a problem with the international issues. They're in line with the international issues with the US, but domestically they're not. So they have different policies on guns. They have different policies on healthcare, NATO nations. They have different policies on education. Totally different policies. Totally different policies. In most NATO nations, except the US, if you want to get a trade, you don't have to have no money in your pocket. You don't even have to do the work to organize it. You simply go down to the school you want to go to, and you sign your name on the paper for the class you want to be in. That's what you do in most NATO countries. That's not what you do in the US.
Wow.
If you Yeah, and you get paid. You see, if in most NATO countries, if you break your leg, you go to the hospital, there's no bill, it gets fixed. If you get cancer, you go to the hospital, you don't pay a bill, it gets fixed. If you have arthritis, you get medical help. If you want to live at home in hospice while you spend your last years, people come to your home to help you do that. When it's all kinds of different things domestically that's going on with the tax dollars in NATO countries that just simply ain't going on in the US. But the US Americans, they're paying just as much tax. So how could it be in the richest country on earth? And it's a simple math equation. It's not really, don't take a genius. The math in the United States domestically is not mathing. It's not mathing. And that's what Kamala Harris is talking about. When was the last time you gave a damn about the American kids? When was the last time you gave a damn about American mothers? You know, that's what I get out of her speech when she says these kind of things. Yeah. When was the last time the US gave a damn about that? When was the last time the US government gave a damn about that? I'm qualified to ask that question because I'm an American citizen that lives in another country outside of the US that's a NATO country where these questions are already answered. They're already answered. So, as a decent American, I'm supposed to share that news. I'm supposed to. I would be a hypocrite. I would be a traitor if I didn't share that news. And since I'm not a hypocrite and since I'm not a traitor, I'm sharing it and I'm asking the questions. But you could see very clearly when you're dealing with Trump supporters, they don't even have the answers and they don't even have the questions. They don't have it. So, in any case, they can't challenge that information that's brought forward. Um, they just it seemed like they're in a chaotic situation right now. But in any case, let's go on to the entertainment news because I got about what? Yeah, I got about half an hour. Well, 15, 20 minutes. Let's see here. This came up. This is what I found. This is exciting. I'm curious about it. This is from what's this program? The brother Art of Dialogue. I watch his program from time to time. Um, I go into his Facebook feeds from time to time, or Instagram, or wherever he is. But I find him to be the more neutral entertainment, you could say, outlet. He's not like Vlad TV. I don't like Vlad TV. I don't hate it, but I just don't like it. Vlad's had his run. It's not interesting anymore to me. But then some of the other news agencies, also platforms that are competing for that space, they also don't seem to, I don't know, be so centered, But in any case, he had this guy Gene Deal, who was one of Puff Daddy's bodyguards, who's been tipping, spilling tea for a few years now on Puffy, and he's been unapologetic about it. But he said something very interesting last night. I'm gonna play it.
It was doing investigation on during that whole time period. It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turn around and give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him. Because the feds is going after all these politicians in New York City.
Yeah, the feds revealed that, anybody that, participated in any, criminal behavior at his freak-offs, they're going to pursue.
What you think about that, Bev? Beverly, you there? Okay, well, maybe Bev chimed out for a second. But listen, y'all, tell me, what do you think about what you just heard? Let me play this one more time.
It was doing investigation on during that whole time period. It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turn around and give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him. Because the feds is going after all these politicians in New York City.
Yeah, the feds revealed that, anybody that, participated in any, criminal behavior at his freak-offs, they're going to pursue.
I find that to be very interesting. Out of all the statements made by Gene Deal in the last 24 hours, and this one was on Art of Dialogue. Big up to Art of Dialogue, actually. To be honest with you, the brother should be proud of his platform, because I'm 55-year-old man, but I'm a lover of music, culture, particularly hip hop music. I came up in that generation. So I followed these stories. I was living in New York when Bad Boy was first being created. You see what I'm saying? I'm from Washington, D.C., so Puffy went to school in Washington, D.C. A lot of New Yorkers come to D.C. and that are in the entertainment industry, go to D.C. to educate themselves and things like that, university classes or business classes, and go back, right, and take on their careers in New York. So I actually am interested in some of the stories that Art has on his platform. But this one I found to be very, very interesting, and I'm sure it's going to go under the radar because a lot of people that are interested in entertainment are not particularly so detailed interested in politics in their own country, sadly enough. And I was also like that too. I didn't grow up that interested in politics, although politics is where the decisions are made about your livelihood and your tax dollars and your life. That it's literally made at the voting booth. So if you don't know the issues, you are just a taxpayer. You're not a person that's getting any respect. You know, when you don't vote and when you're not staying up on the political process and what the politicians are drafting in their bills and who they're drafting them for firsthand, you're not going to really get much respect from anybody, because the wealthy already get the respect. They don't need to educate you about what they're doing, and they don't. They usually do what they're doing in quiet, in silence, whereas though the general population should not want that silence. The general population should want the conversation to take place in an open forum, like the debates, like in Congress, like when they have to sit there and talk about laws that they want to write and laws that they want to vote on and support. That's public. We should be just as interested in that forum as we are in Puff Daddy. That's my thing. But right here, you had Art. He gave a little leeway here, and this comment I find very, very interesting. And let me know what you think about it.
Was doing investigation on during that whole time period. It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turn around and give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him. Because the feds is going after all these politicians in New York City.
Yeah, the feds revealed that, anybody that, participated in any, criminal behavior at his freak-offs, they're going to pursue.
I find this really interesting. The feds did say that anybody involved in these investigations, look at how interested is Donald Trump in these investigations. He doesn't seem very interested at all. How interested are people that support Trump in these investigations with Puffy, or even, this little thing that's been said here by Gene Deal? I didn't hear the feds verbatim say they're going after politicians, but they are. They're going after anybody, including any politicians. And so that would be true. But I'm just curious, like, what do Trump supporters think about that? I mean, a lot of politicians in New York are from the Democratic, not all, but some, a significant amount of Democrats. Do you have any words on that, people that support Trump? Do you care about that? Is that a political issue? Or is it now you don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein anymore? Now, since Trump is running, you don't want to talk. You only wanted to talk about Epstein when Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton in 2016 was an issue. Okay, fair enough. You only wanted to do it then. But Trump was the president when Epstein was murdered. Yes, it was Trump that was the one that was supposed to defend all Americans' lives under the law. Did that happen with Epstein? Well, his death happened under Trump's watch. Whatever criticism you have of the jail he was in, you equally need to ask Trump and say to Trump, that was your responsibility. That happened under your watch. What happened? Aren't you concerned? You didn't seem too concerned. Not as a president. Criminals still are citizens, many. They still have rights. People that are residents that aren't citizens still have rights. So where does the lead person that's there to protect your rights have to say about it? It's been almost no comment. So I see a shift in the MAGA reporters. It's because I think who they really are is coming to light. Um, the people that hate generally are in the closet about something. If you are hating immigrants that much, I would say maybe you got a little bit of immigrant jungle fever, right? I'm not saying you have to like everything immigrants do. I'm not saying you have to identify with everything immigrants do. I'm not saying you have to do anything with immigrants. I'm saying you can be you without hating them. But what's up with the hate? Is the hate because you really got jungle fever and you really like the immigrant girls, or you like the immigrants when you can get to the girls, but when you can't get to the girls, then you don't like immigrants? Is it something like that? Is the issue really about something else they're not speaking? Or is it really a hate? You know, I'm starting to think it's not. It's a fetish. It's something weird. It's something more complex than just hate. It's a fetish. They're having some sort of fetish, and undercover thing. Now, they wanted to talk about Epstein when it was Clinton's turn. Clinton. Clinton ain't been in office in decades, but that's their connection to Epstein. When at the same time, you had that same connection to Trump, the same exact connection, even more of it, maybe even more, just as much as a connection to Epstein. So where's the stories? Where's the stories about corruption? What do Republicans want to get down with corruption anymore? I'm starting to think that if there's any Democrats or any politicians at all worried about Puffy, I'm starting to think there have to be some Republicans ones worried about Puffy too. If there's any Democrats worried about in any Democrat state like New York, think about this. And you didn't get the second part. Gene Deal also said something else I didn't put in here because I don't want to. People should go over to Art of Dialogue and see the whole interview. But there's something else that I didn't put up. It's another comment that he made about this same topic. What he said is that, think about it. Miami didn't do it. Do you think Puffy knows any politicians in Miami? Los Angeles didn't do it. California didn't do it. Do you think there's any lawmakers in California Puffy know? He got money. How did he spread his money around? Or do you think it's just New York? Why do you think it's New York? Do you think that's just the beginning? It's Homeland Security, but it's the New York block, the New York office that did it. Why don't you think the one in Florida did it, or California did it, or are they doing secret investigations? Actually, these are other investigations going on at the same time. The Diddy one was going on that were not even publicized. They're not publicized, according to Gene Deal. So let me know your thoughts on what Gene Deal said on Art of Dialogue. Let me know your thoughts on, why some people just are so bigoted they can't give a sister a break like Kamala Harris, but they'll give Trump a break. And I'm particularly talking about the brown and black people that support Trump. The other people, yeah, there's a percentage of you I'm concerned about too, but I kind of know how y'all think. It has a lot to do with a lot to do with the same thing some of the black people, I believe, maybe and brown people just confused but let me know your thoughts on that anyway. Why can a guy like Trump come out in public and say, grab him by the bejeezels? All you got to do is grab him. How come he can come out and say so much hateful things, but yet whenever you always try to make him equal to Kamala Harris in bad doing and wrongdoing, but you can't show one thing Kamala Harris has done bad? You say she locked up black men. She didn't lock up black men. She locked up men who committed crimes, all races, all religions, all values, men that were raping women. You didn't like that? You're not for locking them up, the rapists, anymore? What rapists did Trump lock up? Trump lock up any rapists? What did he do when his friend got in trouble? What were his comments when his friend for 15 years got in trouble? Why do you think Trump is afraid of Kamala Harris? Trump is old as hell, so he's not going to have too many years left on Earth. But there's obviously other people involved. I mean, don't you think Trump would be concerned about some of the things being said about him in relation to Epstein? Are there others? Does Trump know about others? How close is Trump to Puffy? Like, how much information do they know about Epstein, parties, all this kind of stuff? I mean, do you want uh, a prosecutor to prosecute people that committed crimes with Epstein or Puffy? You know, I mean, I'm just curious. Do you want that? Because I do. I don't care what party they with. If you've been around raping little girls and raping men or raping people in general, blackmailing people in general, I want you to go to jail, Republican or Democrat. Although I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she has not been accused of those things or convicted of those things or lost any civil cases revolving those regarding those things. She simply hasn't. She simply is not comparable to Trump's troubles. She's simply not comparable to Puffy's troubles, Republican or Democrat. She's not related to those things and or has something to do with the crime. Yeah. I mean, yeah, bro. Exactly, Donnie. Exactly. I mean, I think we can ask these questions. And the last thing I want to know is that what do you feel about the United States? Do you feel like the United States domestically shares its wealth, invests its wealth with the people of the United States, the middle class, the working poor, the handicapped, the whatever? Do you think the United States per capita does its job as well in terms of providing security for the masses? I mean, we say we're fighting wars for security, but there's a lot of ways to security issues. It's not just the Taliban. It's not just Al Qaeda. It's not just Russia, the state of Russia, that's a security threat. There's security threats inside of the United States. There's people getting murdered like they's in a war in the United States. There's people getting turned away from hospitals like and health facilities like they ain't citizens, while being taxpayers. What do you think about how the United States is doing domestically regarding education, access to education, healthcare, housing security? How do you think the United States rates in terms of things like that? And would you want it or expect it to do better? Those are the questions that I ask. I'm pro-American because I'm an American that lives outside of the U.S., so I know what it's like to live amongst others, right? And so when I've lived among others, I realized that, wait a second, it's okay for Americans to be proud also of their heritage. It's not, because it's not that I wasn't proud, but I wasn't the type that would raise a flag. I'm from the capital of the United States. We have the flags on the federal buildings. When I was growing up, we rarely had flags on our homes, American flags, not because we had something against it, but just because we don't need to overemphasize it to be it. You see what I mean? So that's part of the generation I come from. We're more likely to not even care if an immigrant has their flag up in their house or on their wall. We can understand that because you're away from home, right? So for me too, I'm away from home. I'm an American citizen. I live outside of the U.S., so I know what that's like. So I've learned a little more respect for the country that I come from, that I'm a citizen of, that my ancestors come from. But I can still question some of these things as an American. That's one of the beauties that we have. I have the freedom. I live in a country where I have the freedom to question these things, Denmark, and I'm from a country where I have the freedom to question these things, the United States. So I will be questioning them. I will be getting answers. because I'm questioning them. I'm asking the public, and I get that feedback back from the public. So I will do my part. Um, I'm out, y'all. It's been about what, an hour, 50 minutes, almost 2 hours now. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Um, Even the people that's watching the replays. I appreciate everybody that's chiming in on the shorts. I'm getting a lot of views on the shorts in the last few months. I appreciate that a lot. It's helping with the algorithm, and it's helping me get new subscribers. Um, yo, I appreciate everybody. Come with the feedback when you get a moment, and I will be back in 12 hours or so, something like that later on. Have a good morning in the U.S. and have a good day in the EU and everybody else, Africa, Asia. Peace out to y'all as well. Yeah, I appreciate that, Donnie. Appreciate that. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna come back with I think a couple more clips, and one clip from Art of Dialogue, and then a few clips from the political spectrum. So yeah, and then get into some of the political stuff I couldn't talk about today in this time. But yeah, I appreciate that, bro. Right back at you too, man. Be good. Peace out, everybody. I'm gonna see y'all later. Let me hit the boom so I can get out of here.